Are you interested in a thermal imaging camera? We reviewed two different ones on Let's Talk Tech today. Hi everyone, Mike here. I wanted to pick up a thermal imaging camera and was trying to keep my focus on cameras that were priced at $250 and less. I was able to narrow it down to two different products. One is from a company called TOPDON. They make a lot of products for automotive repair. And this is their model TC002C. The C is because it's a USB-C version for an iPhone. They also have a TC001 that is an USB-C version meant for Androids. I also picked up this HSFTOOLS. It's their model HP96. And what I liked about this one is that it is a standalone product that has its own built-in 3.5-inch screen, and on the back it does have a LED light that's built into it if necessary, and it has two cameras. One is the thermal imaging camera as well as a regular camera that you can do a mixed overlay if you want to, and I really do like the feature that that offers because it's all designed properly for it. I know the TOPDON, in using it a little bit, that there is a way that you can also use the built-in cameras on an iPhone by plugging this directly into your phone. This now becomes your thermal imaging camera using the display on the telephone or on the iPhone. Unfortunately, it does require then that you have an iPhone as your thermal device, and it adds a little bit of length to the phone by doing this, but it also means that you're now carrying around an expensive device trying to do some thermal imagery. Different professions that use these on a regular basis would be home inspectors, maybe an HVAC installer, plumbers, and even firemen use them. There's also other companies that do exist. Two of the largest companies that I've been able to determine it's a company called FLIR, FLIR. Some people call it FLIR, and there's another company called SEEK. Both of those companies make high-end devices meant for firemen, and it's designed that the outer casing on them can withstand if they're in a hotter environment due to a fire, and they're trying to check areas that may have any hot spots where they know where to concentrate their extinguishing of the fire. Perfect necessity to them, but obviously a little too overdone for an average home owner. And I know both FLIR and SEEK do make devices that come in somewhere between $300 and $500 for home use. I know SEEK does have one similar to this with the iPhone that it plugs in. They do say that it's compatible with an iPhone 15 series that has USB-C, but I couldn't see any way that they actually are orderable yet. So they may be something that are still in development. But this particular one here, this makes you phone independent. Doesn't matter if you're Android or iOS. And it does have a standard resolution of 96 by 96. They do have a feature in this where you can bump up the resolution to 240 by 240. I'm sure it's digitally enhancing the imagery, but I've actually been quite pleased with this one, testing it around the house. And I'm finding the temperature variances between both of these. It's within a couple of degrees Fahrenheit. So I know that they do have calibrations when you first plug them in to tell the device what is the ambient temperature of the environment that you're within. So that way it gives you more of an accurate description of the different temperature points. Both of these are set up so that it will give you the temperature based on where you have it at the center of the screen, and it will float around and it will visually let you know where the hottest and the coldest point in that image is, and it also gives you the temperature reading at the top corner here. So that is a nice feature that you're able to either pinpoint it if you want it yourself, or it's able to quickly identify for you. There are time delays because, again, it does have to recalibrate itself when you're moving around between different areas and your temperatures are changing. I did find that the TOPDON takes a little bit longer to recalibrate than this standalone device is, so that was a nice added bonus for that. But what I want to do right now is I actually, my neighbor next door has an unfinished basement, and he's had a couple of questions about different air leaks and was wondering my opinion on trying to insulate areas that weren't done during construction of the home and anything that I might recommend. So I'm actually going to go over there with both of these, show you some differences and similarities that they both produce, and then when I come back, I will also give you my feedback and my recommendation based on the findings and what I'm going to be illustrating to you. I did want to also show, I'm sure many people have these. This is a very inexpensive way to determine a temperature. They're about $10, $15. You can pick them up online and at multiple places. I probably had this one for close to 20 years, but basically when you shine it, it will make a red dot on the wall, and it will tell you that that is the temperature of that given area. There is a cone of range that this uses. This will tell you the maximum temperature that it's detecting at that point, and obviously the closer that you get to that surface, the more accurate it is going to be, but it doesn't give you the visualization like these particular ones give you to tell you this is exactly what this temperature is at this point. And because these are both imaging cameras, you can actually either save photos or videos of them to be able to reference them in the future. Again, for like home inspectors, that's perfect that they can include those during their inspections for the customers, and that way they can help to pinpoint for them that it appears there may be a water leak in this area. That water can either show as either colder or warmer depending upon the temperature of the water, and to the naked eye you may not see it on a ceiling. It may not be leaving a watermark yet, but quite often these are used to be able to locate where you may have a leaking pipe, either from a ceiling or on the ground if it's absorbing up through the concrete and actually changing the surface temperature of that. So let's go next door. I will do some of the videoing, and then we'll come back and I will give you my feedback, and hopefully one of these two devices or something that you may be wanting to consider for yourself. One thing I did was take the insulation out of one of the sections on the exposed wall where the sun is right now. And as you can tell from this, that it is letting us know that it's 92 degrees in that zone, but when I move it over here, it is cooler. So this lets you see where are your weak points as you move around. And you can see that the upper zone, that delay you just saw is the camera recalibrating. 83. So it's roughly 4 degrees warmer at the very top here. Even though that does look like it's drastically warmer, it's just showing the temperature differences between them. There's the recalibration delay again. We are now looking at the same area using the TOPDON camera attached to my iPhone. It offers the same 3 temperature points like the HFSTOOLS, but it doesn't show it as a summary in the upper left corner. I don't have the hybrid mode enabled on the TOPDON so that you can see the different view options. Again, even though you see the dark blue and bright red colors, there's only a 12-degree difference in these surface temperatures. The colors you see are all based on the calibration the unit performs and then determines the correct colors to display based on the temperature range that it is calibrated for. If any surface temperature is out of that range as you move it around, that is when the camera will perform another calibration to update the temperature range. I now have both cameras pointing at the same spot so you can more easily see the detailed hybrid view I am using with the HSFTOOLS on the left side and the thermal view with the TOPDON on the right. As you see my reflection in the glass, you might be noticing that it is showing a much lower temperature for me than you'd expect. I will discuss this more in depth later in the video. I added a third image here to show the gap in the framing during construction where a hot zone is identified. You can also see the colder temperature just above it that's coming from the AC vent. I'm now in the basement bathroom, which doesn't have a finished ceiling using the TOPDON. I just turned on the faucet in the sink so that we can see the temperature differences for each of the water lines supplying the sink that come down from the ceiling above it. This is a nice image that is showing the temperature of the air coming out of the AC vent. And you will notice that the temperature of the hot water line is starting to increase now and quickly rising closer to 100 degrees. You can see the hot water coming out of the faucet, and it's pretty cool to see the water swirling as the temperatures are mixing around. Obviously something we don't see with a regular camera where the water would just be clear. I'll turn off the hot now so we can see the cold water mixing in. If we turn on the HSFTOOLS camera, it is still showing the warmer area in the sink from the water previously heating up the surface. I'll turn the hot water back on. And now I'll run just the cold water to see if we can pick up the same detail we had with the TOPDON. I think because we have the HSFTOOLS on hybrid mode, we do lose some of that cool mixing swirling effect, but we also gain the detail of the faucet, and you can see the detail of the countertop too. Here we can see the hot water line is 107 degrees and the cold is roughly 83 degrees. Now back to the TOPDON while we look at the ductwork. Looks like the duct is maybe a couple degrees cooler, but not much lower, which is what you would want. I'm now standing in front of the air handler. We see all sorts of temperature differences. The hottest temperatures coming from the high pressure side of the AC line, which is about 84 degrees, and the low pressure side is wrapped in foam insulation, keeping its surface temperature around 66 degrees. The metal pan under the air handler actually has some water on it from the condensate pump, causing it to be slightly cooler than the ground around it. The coldest area we'd expect to see is at the top of the air handler, where it's about 53 degrees, slightly higher than the temperature of the air running out of the system, which we saw 48 degrees when it was coming out of the vent in the bathroom. Next to the air handler, you can see the hot water tank, with the hottest area being the expansion tank on the top, and the hot line coming out of the tank on the left side that is still warm from the hot water running earlier. I wanted to revisit my reflection on the glass in front of the larger mirror. According to the surface temperature of the mirror, it is making you think my temperature is only 80 degrees. As I turn the camera around, you can now see my true surface temperature, which is more realistic at 93 degrees, and it's picking up my breath of around 100 degrees.
The reason for this is your reflection on glass or a mirror does not radiate your actual temperature. The reading from the camera shows it is working properly because it displays the surface temperature of what you are looking at. Since I am reflecting on the surface, I'm not physically on that surface, so my surface temperature is not passed on to it. You may have also seen the wall studs quickly on that transition where they showed up due to their warmer temperature than the cavity behind the drywall that is insulated. You could actually use this as a stud finder if you wanted to.
I hope you enjoyed the different comparisons that I showed of these and the different ways that we were able to use it next door. And I think it is a great tool for anybody to have if they have a concern of energy conservation in their home and where they might be either lacking some insulation, and if they have either a leaky water pipe or a leaky air vent from an air conditioner or heating system that they're trying to pinpoint where they may have deficiencies and able to make corrections to that. So based on using both of these products over the last couple of weeks and then showing you the demonstrations next door, I am leaning more towards this HSF Tools model. What I do like about this is standalone. It's cheap. I was actually able to pick this one up with a bonus coupon for $180, and I don't have much invested in this. If I drop it and break it, I lose $200 potentially, and I don't have to worry about using my $1,000 plus iPhone in order to use it. You can stick these up in areas, up in rafters or up in attics or whatnot, and you're not going to worry as much about it getting dirty or damaged or broken as you are as trying to stick your expensive cell phone device up into those spaces. This HSF Tools does come with a case to hold it, with a clip on the side to carry on a waist, perfect for the professions that I mentioned earlier. And on the TOPDON, this also includes a carrying case. They have some adapter cables so that if you do have an older style iPhone, because this is developed for use with iOS, that they do have a USB-C to Lightning adapter converter, so you aren't limited to just an iPhone 15 or newer that use a USB-C. So my recommendation is I wouldn't even purchase the one that is the model TC002 that does not have the C at the end. It is a Lightning port only on this. Might as well go with the latest because it is backward compatible, and who knows, they may even be able to modify with firmware updates in the future that you could use it on an Android device as well. But I'm likely going to be returning this top-down one just because I found this one to be more user-friendly, simple to use, less expensive, and I did not like the slow uh, rate that this takes to recalibrate. This one being less expensive, to me, one did better. Resolution wise, the TOPDON is 256 by 192. They're close to that range, so I'm going to call that an even split between them. Where the TOPDON does win over this one, but to me it's not a major concern, is the temperature range that these can detect. The HSF tools, the HP96 has a temperature range of minus 20 Celsius to 350 degrees Celsius, which is minus 4 Fahrenheit to 662. The TOPDON actually has two different ranges that you can select. One is a minus 20 Celsius to 150 degrees Celsius, which is a minus 4 Fahrenheit to 302 degrees Fahrenheit. Or if you are dealing with higher temperature ranges, you can increase that to be between 150 degrees Celsius and 550 degrees Celsius, which is a 302 degrees to 1022 degrees. So if you are dealing with higher temperatures, this would be one that I would probably recommend over this, just because this would max out at that 660 degrees. And anybody that is looking for one, if they are work as a fireman, I would recommend the products that are meant for that because I know they do have higher thermal limits than the 1022 degrees that this one offers. Plus, I don't see too many firemen wanting to pull out their $1,000 cell phones in order to look for hotspots. Unless, of course, it's a work provided one, then they may not worry as much. So I'm going to leave a link for both of these. I will also leave some links for the FLIR and the SEEK brand that I find interesting that I didn't purchase just because of their pricing, but at some point in the future, I would like to test them. So if either FLIR or SEEK would like to send ones to us to test for them, to do a comparison against these that we've already done our tests, we welcome them to be sent to us. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today and watching. If you like the video, please click the like. That does help us. We finally have over 1,000 subscribers, but we are always welcoming more subscribers to our channel. And we do recommend, please share this with your friends and your family if these are products that you think that they would find interesting, or other videos of ours that we've produced if you feel that it's something that they would like to watch. We would appreciate you doing that. On behalf of all of us at Let's Talk Tech today, thank you and have a fantastic day.